Okay. Can one of you confirm you could hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So the one from the yesterday Apache, I have already put that up here, and it's a short document. Follow through it, and then you will get it. Okay. So let's see here. Today we're gonna finish up on network, and then let's see here, network DNS. Okay. So we went through all this here. Any questions so far? So what I'm going to show you today is how we're going to set up the static IP address. So it's very easy. All you have to do is change this to static, boot proto to static, and then IP address, the desired IP address you wanted. So give me 1 second here. So normally what happens is if your system has an IP address, it's not there forever. What will happen is it will your when your system restarts or something happens, it will lose that IP and then it will get the new IP. Okay. So normally on our home routers, we don't have like too many, our home routers is capable of giving about like couple hundred IP addresses at the same time, but you don't see that problem as much the IP address changing. But what will happen is if you if you have if you have in a corporate environment thousands of computers for a subnet, it manages the IP addresses. So what for security reason, what the router does is it will detect if this computer is not using this IP address for a little while. What it does is it will give it to the another computer. The name won't change. The name won't change, but the IP address does change. So so let me see if I could go to here 192. So this is my home router here, right? I'm logged into my own router. And then what you could see is you could go in here and then you could click on attach devices, and then it will tell you what your attached devices are. So right now, Red Hat.local, see Red Hat.local, it remembers it using this name. And then it's assigning the IP address 192.168.1.50. And then I have a Dell printer here, which has a IP address, it's assigned 18, and then so on. These are like other computers I have. And then this is probably like a wireless device. Somebody's using this. And then the one you see unknown, it captures your MAC address. I talked to you about MAC address is your hardware ID. This one is hard built into your network adapters. So what will happen is, let me try connecting my cell phone here and then see if it's gonna recognize the IP. So I'm restarting my phone here and see what happens. Okay, I'm going to refresh. Oh, let me start another system here, okay? So let's see. Okay, so I have another system here. So let's see if it's going to show up. Okay, so this is 133. And then let me see what's the name of the host. Host name is Red Hat local. So let me refresh this here and see if it's going to show up here. Okay, it's going to take a moment, I suppose. Okay, see this one here? This is the new IP address that just showed up, and this is my cell phone. The reason I know this is because I renamed it here. So what happens here is this IP address is being assigned by the router. Okay, it's not it just randomly assigning it. Okay, it remembers it and then it reassigns it after say like after a few days or few months. If this is not being on the it's not connecting to the router, then it reassigns this to something else. So what we're gonna do is okay, so let's see if this is gonna show up here, the one we just started. Okay, it's not showing up now. It will show up, but we're gonna continue on our classes and later on we'll come back here and check it. So now since the IP changes here, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna demonstrate and see if we could release this IP and then renew it, and then hopefully it will give us a new IP address, okay? So to release what you need to do is to release the IP address. You just have to check first and see if it's available. So you can run this command dhc client -v, and then okay, so let me see. Okay, so it haven't released it yet. But when you type this command here, it will tell you some information. So what this information is, see, this IP is on our Ethernet 2, which is correct. Right here it says Ethernet 2. And then this is the subdomain. And then this is the port. And then this is the interval. Okay, but the IP address which is being offered by is by this router. This is the name of the router, IP address of the router, 192.168.1.1. If you look in here, you see 192.168.1.1. Okay, and then it is bound to 192.168.1.24. So what that means is since this is a secondary IP address that is being shown here. Okay, so I think it's already deciding which IP address you need to give out after this much time has passed. So let me go ahead and force it and renew it and see if it's gonna work. So the command to do that is dhc lient -v -r. R stands for to release the IP address. So we're gonna get disconnected. Okay, so what happened now is we are disconnected now. So let me bring that original back here. Let's go ahead and type ifconfig. Okay, right now, what you see here is the IP address. There is no more IP address. The IP address is gone. What we did was we forcefully released it. So here we had it 50 here. Let me refresh it and see what happens. See, it's not there anymore. So what we're gonna do is let me go ahead and run the previous command here. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, did you see that? Over here earlier, it was when the IP address was gonna expire, it was telling itself that this is the IP address next time is gonna assign to this machine. So before it was 50, now it assigned 24. So why is it doing that? Because the reason it's doing that is because of DHCP. What DHCP is, it assigns the IP address dynamically. It doesn't care who has the IP address, it just assigns it. So what happens when some important host uh, is assigned the IP address? See right here, it says Red Hat here. So it's assigned to this host. Let me see if the other host has IP address yet. Okay, so other one also has the IP address. IP address 192. Okay, yeah. This one has also has IP address 192.168.1.33. So I could definitely run this command again here. So the command, I'm going to put this in a document here so that you guys would have it. So the command would be dh client -v. So what it does is this one is still giving us some information here. So next time when we're going to renew this IP address, is going to assign 115. So right now the IP address is 33, but it's going to assign 15. So as I explained a moment ago, that the router is the one which is giving out the IP addresses. Okay. So let me go ahead and release. So it's released now, and then let me renew it again. Now for sure it's going to be 125. So let me type ifconfig. So right here you see the IP address is being assigned as 125. Okay. So let's see what's the IP address for this one here is 124. So let's go ahead and connect from here. So right now this one is disconnected, so we can't reconnect again. Let me see if we could duplicate a new session. So we can't do it because it's still looking for .150. So let me go here. So I'm going to change this to, what is the one we have here? 124. 24. Save. Open. There you go. So you could see, like, if the IP address changes randomly, it was 30, it was 50, now it's 24. So the IP address, the way this is set up here is called dynamic because it's keep changing all the time. So what you have to do is, it will be a major problem if this keeps happening to thousands of computers and the servers that you would be working on. So what you're going to have to do is you simply have to go to this folder, cd/etc/sysconfig. We went through this before, right? Partially. And then you go to network. See, I'm typing it wrong, so it won't autofill. One way to know you're doing it correctly or typing it correctly is you type it partially, okay? And then you double tab it. If something is starting more than once with that same initials, then it will give you options here. Then you continue on typing and nothing else is matching that case, then it will autofill it for you. And then you type network, and then let me clear this, let me do ls. So what we are interested in here is, even though we have this the other ones showing in here because they are not being used, the reason they're not being used is I probably have added and removed them before. So let me see. Okay, let's see here. I'm working on this one. Network. Okay, I can see it now. So I probably have added and removed it, or the hardware address have changed. That's why this is not showing up here. So, but the one I'm interested in is ETH2. How you know the one you're working on ETH2? When you type ifconfig, you see ETH2 is the one which is showing up this IP address. Okay, so let's go ahead and go and edit that. So let me copy that, and then what I'm going to do is VI and then paste it there and then hit enter. So right now what you have here is the device. These are like 4 essential lines you really need for your network card to be working. If you have a lot of junk in here, normally by default you would have a lot of junk here. Let me get out of here, and then let me go. Let me go. Oops. Let me go ahead and cat this out. Okay, that one is good. That one is good. This one has a static IP. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these two ones here because it's not going to confuse us here. Okay, so we are down only to the one which we are working with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to VI and then go to number 2 and then hit enter. And then what I'm going to do here is it says on boot. Yes, on boot is going to assign the IP address. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete this to static. Delete that and type it static. And then you have an option here to actually physically assign the IP address. What are we going to assign? 192.168.1. It was 24, right? What was it, 24? We're going to give it a weird number here. Let me see if it's going to go into hundreds. So we're going to give it 99. Okay. Okay, so the IP address we assigned is not going to change because this is still a dynamic address and we haven't started the services yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart the network and see if it's going to assign us a new IP address. So let me go ahead and make sure this is all we have here and correctly. Cat. Okay, so it's matching here. Device is 2, type is Ethernet, onboard yes, boot proto static, and let me go ahead and restart the service. To restart the network service, the command is service network restart. So what it's going to do is it's not going to shut down the computer, restart the computer, but it will restart the network service. So let me go ahead and do that. So it says it's shutting down interface, and then let's see if it's going to bring the new IP address. Okay, see, it's gone from here. What we are looking for here is we are looking for it to assign the IP address which we forced it to assign 99. So let me go ahead and restart. Okay, now you could see like other cell phones have joined the network here because it was in a sleep mode. Okay. Now you could see while it's doing that, you could see that my phone went into sleep mode and it's not being assigned here. What it's going to do is it's going to temporarily hold the IP address here. Let me try to bring my phone up online and then let me refresh it. Okay, so it's not going to cooperate now, but you get the idea, right? This is the IP address it was assigned to my phone, but it will eventually it will bring that phone name back in here, okay? So now let's take a look at this one. The one we are looking at here is we have the IP address as 25, then we forced it to assign it to 99, right? This is the same screen. This is same as this one. So let me go ahead and type ifconfig. So let's see here. This was true. Okay, okay, it's not this one here, it's a different one. Okay, it's this one here. Let me type ifconfig. Okay, do you see now? What you see now is it has a IP address which we forced it to assign it. So we're going to close this and then we're going to use this as a load. Sorry, I'm going to type 99 and then save it and open it. There you go. So what happens next is no matter how many times the system reboots or whatever happens, the no matter how many time it has. Okay. All right. So let me go ahead and demo one root. So let's go back in there, cat/etc/sysconfig network script. Oh, then if. Okay. So we physically assign the IP address to this here. So what we're gonna do is let's see if it's gonna recognize this here. Okay, it may take a little while before it comes up here in dynamic DNS wireless router upgrades, advanced settings. Okay, so it may not show up right away, but it will take a little while for it to show up here, okay? So wireless settings, SSID, advanced, attached devices. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to release and renew the IP address and see what happens, okay? So we're gonna run that command. Okay. Now when we run this command here, it's not telling us that when is this gonna renew it. Earlier you saw that is gonna renew in so many number of seconds, but it's not doing it now. So let me go ahead and release it and see what happens. So it has released it here. Let me type ifconfig. So there is no IP address there. So what I'm going to type here is dhc client -v. Okay, let's see if it's gonna. I don't think it worked. Okay, so it assigned the IP address, which is 124, to it. So let's see if it's being forced to assign a different IP address. That means that our configuration is not working. So let me go ahead and go to cat etc sysconfig network settings. Okay, so even though we assign it the IP address 199, it's not working here because there may be some changes in the network settings that you may have to do on the router. But let's see if I could try to get this. Okay, so it's still giving us the IP address of 24. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and restart and see if it's going to change anything. It's 6. Do you see it gave that IP address red hat again? Okay, have you seen this? It's back to 99 now, the one we assigned. Okay, so earlier it assigned the IP address of 99. So what happened now? The IP address of 99 is physically assigned here. Let me go ahead and run this command one more time and see if it's going to work again. once you are in here, you could use a terminal too, but I really hate using a terminal. You go in here and then you go into system, and then you could use terminal as if you're using the putty. Okay, then I'm going to renew the IP address. Okay, so it's not going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to restart the services. What is the command to restart the network service? Service network restart. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look. Everything says okay, so I have config. Okay, now it's back to 99. Let's go ahead and try this again. See? Any questions? Okay, now see the changes are being reflected over here. So let's see. So the changes are being reflected here. You see the hardware address, also known as a MAC address, and you see a hardware address over here is matching with the hardware address over here. Okay, so this part is really important, that you know how you would configure the static IP address. But when it comes to like a network part, you know, you won't be responsible for the network part because somebody else will be working on this routers and all that. So you will get a request to set up like a static IP. All you have to do is go in there and change to boot proto to static, and the IP address that you think the server needs it, you just type IP addr equal and the IP address. That way you just have given this server a static IP address. What does static IP address means? The IP address will be sticking with this computer name. It's not going to change no matter what. If the system crashes, if the system comes back and does all those things here, but still will be the same IP address. Okay. All right, so I'm going to briefly go over how this router works. So what you have here is you have a router and you have another router. You would have like thousands of these. You would have thousands of these in your company, and it's a company name. Company, um, it's a company network here. So the moment a new router is there, it will start its own own uh, own Ethernet. I'm sorry, own network. So that its own network is called subnet. The entire company has a big network, and then whenever the new router is having, it's having a subnet, and this is called another subnet, and this is another subnet within, and you will have thousands of this here. How do you know this is a subnet? Because the IP address of the router would be different, 192.168.1.1, and this one is 192.168.2.1. So the moment it changes, the router IP address changes, then it will start giving this devices in here the new IP address. So when it starts giving the new IP address to the new devices in its subnet, what will happen is the first three numbers is going to stay the same in the IP address. Only the endpoint of the address is going to change. So if you have this client here, for this one here, see, the 192.168.1.1, this part is staying same here with every device. With every device, it's staying same, no matter what, if it's a cell phone, if it's a printer, or if it's a computer, but the end part is changing. So this is called the assigned IP address. And then the main IP address over here is called the default gateway. Okay, so this is the IP address of each individual device, and the number over here is the number in the browser on the top. 192.168.1.1 is the IP address of the router. The What is the IP address of the router called? It's called default gateway. What is default gateway? It's an entry point of the network. So within a big network, we have all the subnetworks. Subnetworks have starts wherever the new router starts. Okay, and this is a switch. Switch is nothing but a router would have like a router would have like bunch of ports on it, right? So a switch will just extend those ports. It's a dumb router. So it's not gonna do or play any role, but rather than just add extra ports to it. So this is the home router. The reason you could tell this is a router is because one of them has a ingoing line and other ones are like outgoing line. So I'm sorry, yeah, it's a bad example here. Let's see. Okay, this one. So this one, the line over here is coming in here as a main from the modem. This is coming to from the internet, and from here it will this is the entry point. The entry point to communicate with the outside world. So this is the default gateway. The IP address assigned on this port is going to be a default gateway, and then it's going to assign that last three digits after that. 192.168.1.1 in this example, 20 or whatever. Since it's a dynamically assigning IP, is going to randomly assign the numbers. It's not going to go and like sit there and wait for like one, then two, and three or four. It will automatically assign whatever number it needs. It could assign hundreds of numbers in here. Now, physically, you could see only four ports here, right? So this part, or the yellow part and then the blue part, this part is actually a built-in switch. This is the default gateway and this is the built-in switch. So let's talk about the switch. So you could have like a switch here. You could have like five switches here. When you put that one switch and then put it right next to one here, it will be like adding just the dummy ports, adding like another five ports in here. It's not going to play any role that if this is a router, then things are going to change. But if this is a switch, you could have the router will come with like one port and few switches. I mean, a few ports. This part is also a switch port. These are the switches of the router. And to extend these, to add more to it, you go out there and purchase a little switch like this. Or you have money, you could go buy a big one. It has like a lot. Now, right now with this, you automatically assign like about 30 ports to that router. Now this one, if you have more money, you keep adding it. You get the idea, like the more that you have, more is gonna take care of the stuff. All you need is one good working router, and this router is capable of handing out hundreds of IP addresses. Okay, we already saw one demonstration here. We assigned 99. We could probably assign a lot more, a bigger number, and could go probably up to 500. I don't know, 1,000. I'm not sure. So what you could do is you could just Google it here. Uh, WNDR 3700. Okay, type this in here. How do I assign an IP address? How many I should type this here? Well, it's not showing up here, but you get the idea. Normally, uh, a little router like this, which is for home use, it could assign hundreds of IP addresses. So the one which is being used by the big businesses, you could imagine it could assign a lot more. Okay, so don't get confused between the switch and the routers. A router is the one is like a master; it gives out the IP addresses, and the switch is like a dumb terminal. It just like adds the ports to it and then wait for the router to do all the hard work. Okay. So what next here? So are you clear about this? So remember this. What is the default gateway? Default gateway is the entry point of the router to communicate with outside network. It could be outside Ethernet, or it could be network, or within the network. So within a company network, this is another network, this is another network. These two networks, individual small networks, is called subnet. Oh, okay, here. The maximum number of IP addresses a network could assign is 255. So this is the reason it's 255 is 10 to the power of I think 8 or 9, whatever that thing is, 256. So it assigned 256, and one is reserved for the router itself. So it has about 255 it could assign. Okay, so let's see here. There is a nice command here to check the gateway of the router here. So for this, we don't know, we don't have access to this, right? How are we going to check the what is the default gateway? What you have to type is you have to type netstat -rn. Okay, what it does is it will give you the IP address of the um, okay, why is it saying 000? Okay, I suppose there is another IP address set up reserved for the hardware itself. Okay, and then the one is assigned to default gateway, and then it has another 256 left, 255 left to assign to the rest of the network. Mm, let's see here. Is Bashar online?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So I just searched here. You type route-n. Okay. So it's giving you the destination is 110. Let's try to go there and see what happens. Well, anyway, the information is coming out here is not accurate here because I think we need to define that in the in the in the IP configuration here, but we're not worried about this. Most of these things I just talked in last few minutes, you don't have to worry about too much of it because this is being dealt by on a network layer, and it's a different team that will take care of the network issues. Okay, So let's see what else. So there is another command here. If you are not able to connect to the outside the secondary system here, so what you could do is there is a command called nc. So I have two hosts here. This is another computer, right? Uh, the IP address for this is 125. So how do you know if you're not able to connect directly? What you could do is you could type nc-v 192.168.1.25 and then the port number 22. Yesterday I explained you what port number 22 is, right? You could go ahead and change the port number, and then we change it to 222 to 2222, then that way you could connect it. So right now this one is not showing the port 22 is open here. Let's see. Let me ping this. Okay, see, this is a classic example. It's trying to go to 25 and it's trying to go to from 99, it's trying to go to 25. Yeah, let me see if the IP address is still the same. Okay, let's see here, 25. Okay, this. So this is a good example here. We're trying to connect to this host here, and then it's not working. And then we did nc-v, and then it says the port is not there. So what you're gonna do is, let me see if you have any troubleshooting steps. So you use this command here to troubleshoot you use this command ethtool-s and then the port number to troubleshoot the problem. We're gonna change it to 2 and then grep errors. Okay, so it has some errors here, but all these errors are zero, so there is no errors on this side here. Okay, let's go ahead and try that here. This one is 2. So ethtool-s eth2 and then grep. Okay, so there is no errors on this side too. So in this case, what you have to do is you have to try releasing and renaming the IP address. So what you do is you do dh client -v -r, and then let's see what happens. Okay, and then we do only -v. It's doing something. Okay, it came back as 25 again. Okay, let's see if he's gonna ping. So what's happening is there is no outbound communication there between here and over there. So it could be a problem with the since we made changes in here, it will take a little while for the router and for these two systems to sync in together. Okay. So there are some things that we may not able to actually perform, but if you don't find any errors on your system, then it's a network issue. So you send it to the network people and they will take care of it. Okay, and then this is just a demonstration how the UDP works. Is like it's just a broadcast one to many, and then multicast is many. It, okay, so it has a group. Okay, apparently within UDP there are two things. One is a broadcast and another is a multicast. So broadcast is a purely UDP, and then the multicast UDP is called group. So what happens is every device it just like throws the packet on the network and it doesn't confirm if it's going to get it or not. But in multipass, only one gets the packet. So what it does is it will throw that here the packet, and whatever packet is intended for that group, it goes to that group. So the publisher and the user must be in the group. So right here, it will make a group out of this, and then it will get this is one group, and then this is one group. So when it sends a message here, it goes only to the intended host. This is we're not going to worry about too much because this is something it's on a network layer and we don't deal with this as much. But these are the terms you need to remember, okay? To review here, what we did was what is a protocol. These are like network questions. It defines rules and conventions how a system can communicate with each other. Basically, these are predefined rules. Predefined IP address is configured at a network layer. What we just did was we just configured the network layer IP address. And what does nested-n does? It will test you to check the gateway. Okay, let's type this in the Google here and see what is going to bring that to us. Okay, let me show you on the Windows here. On Windows, what you could do is you could type ipconfig, and then you see this part here. It's showing much better here. The default gateway is 192.168.1.1. This is the one I was looking on this Linux box, but it's not working there. And the subnet mask is this is the subnet we have. And then this particular computer that I'm working on is 17. So if you look at this, it says 17 here, and this is the computer I'm working on. And then you could check the MAC address too. Let's see, the MAC address is going to work. MAC address is 4D. So what I'm going to type is I'm going to type ipconfig hyphen all. So what this does is it will show you the MAC address also. So this particular computer I'm using, it has like a virtual adapter. This is the one we are working for. VirtualBox is showing that. And then the one I'm using is this is the one for the computer I'm showing you working on this. And it's gonna give you the more details here. And where is the MAC address here? Local IP address. Okay, this is the physical address. Okay, this is the physical address of my computer here. So if you see on top here and over here, these two things are matching. I told you before also, physical address is nothing but a MAC address, and this number will never change. but your IP address will change. That's why you could definitely assign a static IP. Okay, let me close this and let's move on. And then to check the route of a gateway, just type route-n and it will give you the gateway. Did we type this in here? Let's type that. Okay, unfortunately it's not showing here. I don't know why, but it may take some time to sync it. Okay. And then real quick, what does ping uses? Ping uses ICMP. You just have to remember this. Did I talk about ICMP? Okay, so I didn't talk about ICMP, but ICMP just literally stands for Internet Communication Messaging Protocol. We talk about UDP and PCP, but the ping uses the ping, like if you type ping google.com, what it's doing is it's using this messaging protocol. It's not working here. I don't know why. Let me bring in the other host here. Not this one. This one here. Let's see if this is going to work. Okay. Well, right now it's not working. So, but anyway, we used the ping command here on the top. Okay, so we type this, and then this is the ping command the system uses, and the protocol it's using is Internet Communication Messaging Protocol. Okay, don't think all these protocols were developed like overnight. It took years and years of human effort for it to all these things to come up, and then not one single company have came up with one thing. Okay, all these things are like developed by some companies that exist now, some that doesn't exist, some are like IBM, or what is the other one, and the IBM, Apple, all these big corporation, big and small, they invent something that helps the internet. Okay, all these things is called technology, and the things keep moving forward. The new things keep getting invented. Okay, and there is another thing called IGMP, so Internet Group Messaging Protocol. So essentially, this protocol is used by UDP. UDP multicast. What it does it's a broadcast at the same time it's in a grouping session. Okay, so that's about it for network now. But don't stress on this. The major thing you have to worry about is practice this. Remember this: the transport control protocol. It uses three layers in here: data, network, transport, and application. Okay. And then remember TCP connection establishment, it has syncac ACK. Okay, so I made an abbreviation in here: S for sync ACK, then ACK. Okay, and then TCP connection closing, fin ACK, fin ACK, fin ACK. So it's a four-way connection here. And then the IP address, you just have to remember the network port it remembers is 22. Don't worry about FTP. We're gonna use a little bit, and then HTTP is 8, but we're not worried about much. But we will be using 22 a lot. Okay, so we have all this through, and then go ahead and practice this, like setting up the static IP address. When you get stuck here, send me the picture. And then if it's not working, go ahead and restart your system and see if it's going to help, okay? All right, so we are done with network here. Let me see what else I'm going to do today. So the network is done. DNS, ooh. This one is a big topic here. I'm not going to start on this today. So what I'm going to do is let me see if this is easy. Okay. Okay, so let's try this two things here. We have, okay, close this. We're going to work on these two systems here. So let me go ahead and try to connect here. Putty. And this one is 25. 192.168.1.25. Oh, it's a new one here, not 25. And then you know how I like the color different. Foreground is that. Okay, let me open it. Don't want to open. Oh, it has bound 0. So it should connect. Here, no, we don't want to. Let me go ahead and close it and bring up something else. Okay, this one is 44. So let me try to connect to 44. Oh man, I typed it wrong. Yes, root. So we have two systems here, A and B. What we're going to do is we're going to use a protocol called SFTP. So what this is SSH file transfer protocol. Okay. What you have to do is there is one up here. The second one here on the bottom. Let me reduce the fonts. Okay, that's better. I'm gonna type clear. Okay, for this to set up here, we are just gonna do it as a server and client here. Okay, so the files which are gonna be configuring is ssh config and then ssh dot ssh. Okay, and this is the package we need to install. So all you have to do is copy this and then say yum install OpenSSH. This is the server, okay? And we're gonna use this as a client. Okay, and then let me see, there's extra space there. Yes. Okay, so it's not gonna download because we have an internet problem. Why do we have an internet problem? 99. So what we're gonna do is okay, I'm gonna go ahead and change this back to uh, dynamic IP, okay, because it may be causing some problem here. So I go to cd/etc/sysconfig/network scripts ls, and then I'm gonna go ahead and copy vi that, and then I'm gonna say boot proto. What was the boot proto? Okay, so when you forget something, you could go to like a neighboring host, and I kind of forgotten that what brute portal is. So what you have to do is you go have to go to the neighboring host and see, oh, what is boot proto? I forgot something. You just say go back here and says what is DHCP, so you put on DHCP in there. Okay, exit out of there, then do service. Okay, it's gonna assign the new IP address, so let's see what's gonna happen here. Okay, so 24 is back. The router is stubborn here. It want to assign 24 to it. Okay, let's see here. What we had here for we had for 99, right? We're gonna change it back to 24. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna install that yum. You go up, you go up like this. I'm bored, but I'm gonna cancel this. I'm gonna type clear, then I type yum install open ssh hyphen server. So last time it wasn't going through this, it did now. So that tells me there is the internet connection. It's downloading it from outside world. Okay, so we got a confirmation that it did install all these things here. So what we're gonna do is there is another command. You copy this and put it in here, and it says when you type netstat -apn grep -w22, that means all these ports are open here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start the service. Service SSHD start. Okay, and then we'll, you know how you do the status. It's running. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna we're gonna do a we're gonna do user add user add user one, enter user one. So we created a user, but the password is not set. We're using the password command to set the password for the user one, and then we put a simple password. Okay, and then it's been updated. So what are we gonna do here from the other place? From the other system, it says here from the client 2, all you have to do is you just have to do this as a SSH 192.168.1.n to connect. Full access, you will get a full access. So what you have to do is you have to get the IP address. So this is the IP address, and what you have to type is user1 at and the IP address, and we'll see if it's going to connect. So maybe you have to type SSH in the front. Yes. But I think it's not working because it didn't do it. It's not supposed to ask the password here. So let's go ahead and go in here. CD or VI slash. I'm going to go here and take a look into this config file. etc sshd underscore conf. And let's see here. We've been here before. So all looks good to me. So right now we are connected in here. So we're going to have to exit there. Am I missing any step here? SSH to 192. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run that command here. It says that you could connect there as a root user. Okay, connect as a user one. Okay, give me one moment here. Let me check my notes. Okay, I'm still testing out. Give me one moment. Okay, so what I figured it out is the SFTP is used as a file transfer protocol. Okay, what does it stands for? SSH file transfer protocol. What it's really doing is it's connecting to the other host, and then it's getting and sending and receiving the files here. So what it normally do is it doesn't do much, but this is being used for quickly send and receive a file here. So if you do ls, so it's doing the ls on this file here. From here, it's connecting to this user. So if we have a file 2 there, touch file 2, and then if you do ls over here, it's reading this directory here. So to copy that file from there to here, what do? You just type get file 1, file 2. So what it does is it gets the file from there and then save it on this server here, okay? And then from here, um, Okay, let's do ls. Okay, over here, see, we did ls. The file 1 was not there, right? Just type ls here. Now the file is there. So what it's essentially doing is it's copying these files from here to there over there. So it's getting it, it's connecting from here to here, but it's actually in this command here. It's looking for these files here and getting it over there. So locally here, there is a file I created, server 1 and server 2, right? So to put that file there, what you do is put server 1. So when you do ls here, so the server 1 file is there. Okay, and then you put the same command here, put server 2, and the file goes over there. Okay, any questions? So when you run this command here, all the files from there is gone. So it's connecting from here, but still running the commands from there. Okay, let me exit here, and you do ls. You still have the file 1, file 2, server 1, and server 2 is still here. So when you run the command from here to here, the command is get and the file name. And then to put the file from here to there, the command is put. Okay. And I'm going to stop here today and go through this and see if it's going to help. But all these things are not important. As I'm saying every class, the important thing is you have to be able to do basic commands and VI editor. Spend a lot of time on this, and then spend whatever the time is left out of 2 hours doing the other things. Any questions? Okay, we still have 15 minutes. I want you guys to ask questions now. Bashar, you have any questions?
No, no, Zafar, thank you.
Is it making any sense here? But these things will make sense when you start working on it and poking around. It will all come together, okay?
Okay.
So the more you practice the one I'm telling you, uh, these two ones you should be like by heart. It's in your fingertips. This command and this command, VI editor, do it every day. By the way, I updated the VI editor. You could go in here and looks much cleaner, and then much more easier to understand. So in here, I typed in here. Remember, this is like colon here. Colon is you are in a command mode. So go ahead and go through this, and then go ahead and create a file, put this 12 lines in there, and then play around with it. Do whatever it's saying to do. CC means replace the entire line. Okay, L means move the cursor left, move the cursor up and down, and all this. 5GG, it moves the cursor 5 lines up. So how do you type 5? You type 5 and hold the shift key and type G, capital G. You type 5 and lower G, it moves the cursor to 5 lines down. It goes down. So the more you do it, the more practice you do it, the better it's gonna get. Okay? Any questions? Okay, if no questions, then I'm going to stop here and then I will upload the videos and put it in the chat that the videos are uploaded, okay? Let me know in the chat if you have any questions. All right?
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, sure. I'm going to stop this.